Is it time to leave my 30F addict boyfriend, 31M, of 7 years based on this decision he made? My boyfriend of 7 years was hospitalized in October with alcohol-induced acute pancreatitis. He quickly deteriorated and was in the ICU, unconscious and on life support, for 6 weeks. I watched him fight for his life and I was at his bedside, sun up to sun down, feeling like I was watching him die. I stood by him when he woke up, needed rehab to relearn to walk, came back home and adapted to life again. My life has been on hold as I've supported him over the last 6 months. I also work full-time and am in law school through all this. This is an unbelievably traumatic time for me. And I'm exhausted. He was a functioning alcoholic before. It wasn't our relationship or anything. But needless to say, he can never drink again. It'll kill him. I have gone sober to help support him, though I only drank occasionally before anyway. He remained sober for a few months, but I just found out he's been drinking again for at least a month, and hiding it. This was gut-wrenching and terrifying to find out. Of course I'm terrified of losing him. But I'm also terrified of this being the rest of my life, the constant worry. I told him I couldn't stand by him unless he committed to getting real help, and to his credit, he took it upon himself to look into rehabs and has an intake scheduled for intensive outpatient this week. He has a golf trip planned in 2 weeks for a tournament he plays in with his best friend every year. I'm beside myself that he still intends to go. Not only will it be full of triggers, but it'll also require him to rearrange rehab sessions to make the trip work. To me, that suggests he's not fully committed to recovery and it isn't his top priority. He doesn't think it's a big deal. I told him I can't keep supporting him if these are the choices he's going to make. I feel like he's choosing this trip over me and our future. I know he has a disease and is scared right now. But if he's not ready to fully committed to recovery, I need to leave, no matter how much I love him. While this golf trip feels like a breaking point to me, I'm worried that maybe I'm overreacting cause I'm so scared. I've invested so much into this relationship and him. I love him more than anything. We've had a happy relationship aside from the last 6 months. I know he loves me so much, even if he's not doing a good job of showing it lately. Everyone around me has said the same too. We were planning to get engaged shortly before he was hospitalized, so that's all been on hold now obviously. I thought he was my future. But this version of him can't be my future. Have I gotten to that point? Is it time to leave him? I'm so broken at this point I don't know what to do. I want to support him but I don't know when enough is enough. Yes, I watched my alcoholic father go down this path and believe it or not it gets worse. He's choosing his path and you do not, nor should you, walk it with him. My dad, even as he lay dying in the hospital, told me if they released him he wouldn't stop. Do not blame yourself or feel he's your responsibility. You've done all that you can, have stood by his side, and now for your own health and well-being you need to go. I'm sorry if that sounds cruel, but you shouldn't be expected to shoulder this burden. He's made his choice, now you need to make yours. Hey there, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm a recovered alcoholic that has been sober for almost 7 years, the 7th of July 18. He is not taking his recovery seriously and yes, he will die. One thing they taught us in rehab was to put your own life vest on before anyone else. You are your own person and deserve peace in your life. He needs to mourn the alcohol and know that he can never ever drink again. No margaritas, so beers by the pool, no cocktails in the golf course. You are not a bad person for protecting your peace. Good luck and please free to reach out with questions. If 6 weeks on life support didn't scare him sober, very little is likely to change that. You're setting yourself up for a lifetime of misery, though his lifetime is likely going to be pretty short given his choices. You're in law school and working full-time with this going on? He's an addict. His life, and by extension, yours, will be full of relapses and recovery. Dude almost died and doesn't think it's a big deal. He will hold you back. Do not let him. Do not marry him. Get out of there and get your law degree. If he isn't committed to getting better, then you need to leave. You can't love him enough, bag him enough, argue with him to make himself get better. It has to be his choice and he's choosing to not do it. If he can't skip one trip, even a super important one, to fully recover he doesn't care about recovering. He hasn't stayed sober and won't stay sober on that trip. 7 years is long enough. Don't waste more time on a man who is willing to continue to endanger his life without a thought about you and your future. At the end, you said you love him more than anything. It sounds like you love him more than yourself as well. You are so young, you leaving may be the trigger he needs to actually get help. What side do I take after my M25 sister, F27, assaulted her husband, M26? I love my sister and my brother-in-law, but she did a very bad thing. She put her hands on her husband. Her husband is one of my best friends. He's a good dude. He came over to my apartment and we drank a few beers. I guess they got into a fight and he said he just needed to chill for a bit. Brought the kids with him. So we talked and he told me she hit him and he left. He said he just needs some space. She went to stay at my mom's. He went back home with the kids for the weekend. Now, it's Sunday, he's at home with the kids, she's still with mom. He said they'll figure it out, but she's going absolutely nuts. She's been calling me asking where he is, what he's doing, asking how she can fix this. I told her the same thing, just give it time, it'll be fine. And she's still panicking. For context, my family is Mexican. My brother-in-law is white, and he's hella chill. I say this because she started posting racist shit on her Facebook. I hate Hispanic boys, they are all dirty. I love my gringo. Girls hate white men because they are mad they can't pull one. I love Donald Trump. And then a paragraph about how much she loves her husband and how God blessed she is to have a hot husband with blonde hair, blue eyes. All within 5 minutes. Like damn okay, literally calling your brother, dad, and cousins dirty. I understand she's probably terrified of losing him, but she's saying hurtful shit and going nuts. Oh, and her husband saw it. He sent me a screenshot of her posts, with a text that said, WTF. Sorry to be one of those reversal people, but if the brother-in-law hit the sister, no one would be saying, just give it time, it'll be fine. Just because it was a man hit by a woman doesn't make it less abusive. Clearly, with the physical violence and racist rant, your sister needs professional help. You support your brother-in-law and their kids by being there for them, in whatever way they need. You support your sister by sitting her down and making it clear that hitting is unacceptable and helping her find a therapist. You take the side of the abuse victim, Bill, of course. I would stop thinking about it in terms of sides. He's the victim here. Support him and the kids. As for your sister, she obviously needs help. Support her on that. As for their marriage, I'd stay out of it. Personally, abuse is a deal-breaker for me. Full stop. But unfortunately this is ultimately his decision. If he chooses to stay with her, she will need individual therapy and they will both need couples therapy. Your sister needs a lot of help. In your position I'd start by saying something like, Deborah, why are you acting like a whack job on Facebook? Except use her name and a culturally appropriate term for unpleasant and out of character. She's no longer in a position where she can hit him or scare the kids right now, so getting her calmed down or at least in private with this helps everyone. I think it's pretty obvious that he's in the right here and a victim of assault. You can still help your sister while acknowledging that she was wrong and needs to work on herself. What she's posting is gross and messed up. Plus what she did to her husband is vile. Help her get herself into therapy, and maybe more, if her crazy behavior continues. I would also try to help your brother-in-law set high standards for himself before going back to her. If she gets away with it once, she'll do it again. That doesn't mean their relationship is over, but if he ignores this and moves on, it can lead to worse. Your sister needs professional help and consequences for her actions. I, 21F, realized my 21M boyfriend is a man-child and I can't fix him after 5 years. We've been together since we were 16 and ever since I've gone through emotional tests and drains with him. I've forgiven him for cheating, breaking promises, and straight up lying, all while giving him the grace that he'd grow and learn. I've always been a loving woman to him and learned how to be his woman a long time ago. I've gone above and beyond for him in many ways but have hardly ever seen him do the same. Example. When he was too depressed to even shower, I got in with him and cleaned him without question because that's love. I got his grandfather's chair from the dump because he couldn't take it while moving. I know his birthday, which doesn't seem like much, but every year he asks when mine is. Recently 3 things have happened to make me realize he is a man-child and I've been his mommy. 1. I asked him to promise me something that was important to me, and when the time came he was ready to put his friends over me again. When all his friends are gathered in one place it suddenly prioritizes over everything, and I have no problem with that unless I need him or we had plans, which those moments are few but they still matter. He actively was ready to break his promise while saying sorry the whole time but didn't go because I didn't let him walk over me again. I voiced how it made me upset and how it was like watching a child choose between a dump truck and a toy robot because it's happened to so many times, and he didn't apologize or seem to even care. He just threw his hands up and said, anyone else would have gone, you should be grateful. 2. I recently messed up my right hand and went to the hospital for it. They gave me a brace. My right hand is my dominant hand and the pain is too great that I can't wash myself properly or brush my hair. The cast restricts my thumb so I can't even grip anything. I asked him to help me shower the day I got out of the hospital. His response? Put a bag on it, I don't want to get wet. In the moment I didn't realize how crazy that was. But 2 days ago when we talked about it I truly realized how disrespectful that was. He defended himself saying that's what people do. But it made me realize I would have never done that to him, just left him incapable to figure it out. And then I remembered the searing pain I felt when I had to figure it out. A real man would have grabbed a towel and said, "Let's go." But I didn't get that. 3. I woke up crying the other night and he asked what was wrong. I started to speak and he cut me off to point out that the laundry needed to be done. I was so confused I thought he was joking, but he was serious. He then continued to get off the bed and complained that I should have done it already and grabbed the basket. I just laid there unsure of what just happened. It's not the first time he's dismissed me or cut me off, but this time was really an eye-opener. I then went downstairs to see him standing there on his phone. He asked if it was 1 pot or 2. I answered him and went outside. Waiting to see if he'd check on me, he didn't. I always do the laundry for both of us, but lately haven't gotten the chance to. I've comforted him even while he was feeling pity over me being hurt from something he did. I've comforted him so many times without question. I've been there without question. My last 5 years have been taking care of a person who swears they're changing but follows the same patterns, then has the audacity to say sorry and that he loves me. And I genuinely can't think of a single thing he's done to reciprocate even 1% of what I've done for him. He doesn't even say sorry unless I help him connect the dots too, and then it's not without self-deprecation. He always says, "It's not that deep," to serious issues, because unless it affects him he doesn't care. I realized I've been disrespected so many times that I grew numbed, but reality hit me. My question is, how do I end things with him properly? He doesn't have a car, so I drive him to work and everywhere, so I feel bad for that, but he does live with his friends, so he isn't homeless. He also has most of his stuff at my house. We've broken up and gotten back together so many times that I want this one to stick. And I'm disgusted because every time we broke up he wasted no time sexting other girls, but I always laid in bed depressed. I need to get over that so I don't fear anything and stay. Girl, just dump the man, block him and move on. Don't waste another second on this loser. You don't need to end things properly, just end it and be done with this mess. You're expecting husbandly behavior and duties from an immature boy, while you yourself are doing wifely duties without being married. It's time to leave. You should have left when he cheated. You enable shitty behavior when you stay after the fact. He thinks how he acts is just fine, it's not something you fix. His problems are his own to deal with, it has nothing to do with you. Put all his belongings in boxes and leave them on the outside. Even if it's somewhere out of sight. And then break it off and tell him where his stuff is. He can't drive? Not your problem. He gets upset? Not your problem. He begs or tries to manipulate you back. No thanks. Not your problem. Then block him every way possible and find lots of hobbies to keep you busy. And stay off the internet. Especially in socials you both are in. Work on yourself. Work on being happy and satisfied single. Don't worry yourself with all the girls he'll be sexting. He can be their disappointment now. Just end it. His problems are not yours to figure out. He can grow up and find out how to get to work on his own. Find someone who treats you with respect. It doesn't sound like he brings anything to the relationship. Just reread your post. Slowly, line by line, you'll find all the reasons and all the strength in there. You got this. Just break up and block him everywhere. Then ask yourself why you value yourself so lowly that you keep allowing this man in your life, and why you lay in bed missing a piece of garbage so much. 45M husband finds out wife 43F was more than just friends with someone. I want to start this by saying that she never cheated on me. This is about dishonesty only. I've never questioned my wife about her past. I specifically told her that I didn't want to know anything unless there was something specific she thought I should know about, reckless behavior, etc. I did, however, ask her to let me know before introducing me to anyone she had a past with. I didn't think that was an unreasonable request. A few months into our relationship I met her friend, Jim. They grew up together and were good friends in high school. Jim and I had a lot of similar interests and became pretty close friends. Jim and I hang out. Jim is at our wedding. Jim and I go camping. Jim and I discuss intimate details of our relationships. Never once did Jim mention that he used to bone my wife. Fast forward about 15 years to today. My wife is out of town. I'm organizing some boxes in our office. I find a small book in a box. I open it. It's a journal that I never knew she kept. I'm a jerk, so I flip through a couple of pages. Long story short, old Jimbo was definitely slipping her the bone, and she was loving every minute of it. Her writings were quite salacious. It read like a fiend porn novel. Some encounters spelled out in graphic detail. Apparently she can swallow. This all happened a few years before we met, and I'm not mad that she had this relationship, but I am furious that I was friends with this guy, and neither of them told me the truth. More disappointed in my wife more than anything. Jim moved far away many years ago and we haven't stayed in touch. Not sure how to address this with my wife. Technically I was snooping in her private stuff, but it wasn't labeled. This relationship occurred about 4 years before we met from what I can tell. My wife and I have been married for 11 years now. Just a bit of a shock to find out about this right now. I really feel like I should have been told about this relationship. I've never felt betrayed by my wife before. What would you do in this situation? The dishonesty is what would make me mad. I would have the book sitting in front of me at the table when she walks in. See how she reacts. You have to talk to her. I find it sus that this guy kept hanging around and she encouraged it. I mean, who invites their old sex partner to their wedding and wants him to be friends with her husband? It's just so icky. I don't blame him though. He probably figured you knew and were fine with it. My ex was still friends with a woman he had a FWB relationship with. It had ended years before we met, and she was happily with someone. We hung out in a friend group for years. I would have felt lied to and betrayed if I wasn't aware of that history between them. She absolutely should have told you. Then you could make an informed decision about the depth of your relationship with him. She watched you form a friendship with Jim without fear of him outing her, so to me that implies that they had an understanding not to discuss it with you. I can understand why you are upset, as you were misled by your wife and someone you considered a good friend. It's in the past, but you should definitely have a talk with your wife. It brings up the question of what else has she skirted the truth on. Man, that is a tough one. I would find time to sit both them down and clear the air. Wondering if there is another shoe that will drop. You might learn what you don't want to know. What I would do is let her know how this makes you feel. You feel betrayed. She needs to know this and why you feel this way. Secrecy. You should request to made aware of any more guy friends in your social circle she had hooked up with. One chance at full disclosure. And if you find any more in the future she did not disclose, it will be grounds for separation.